Tech Creative, just going through another tool here. This is an AI tool. It's called IKI.AI, IKI.AI. So there's a lot of tools coming to the market featuring AI. It's probably an overabundance of them, honestly, but this one in particular going to be a pretty useful and interesting one. So what we're seeing here is that AI is great for creative products. You've seen it for like Mid-Journey, even obviously ChatGPT, Dolly. There's a lot of things that we can do with AI to help you do creative projects. But now we're also seeing it being used as kind of a search engine, trying to be a source of digging up information. So in the old days, you type in a search engine and all of a sudden you get information to sort through it. Well, what the AI tools now are doing is they're kind of doing the search, but they're also kind of giving you kind of an aggregate of the information itself. So for example, when you go into IKI.AI, one of the features is you can ask it, right? Now you can pull from the web, you can pull from your own personal library, or you can pull from the kind of the users that are using the system. So one of the things that's unique to IKI.AI is that it has a kind of a social aspect to it. So it's not just a search engine, but they're also other users using it that are doing research and pulling information into the system. So when you ask Iki a question, I can pull from one of these kind of three sources. So let's just take a look at the web. We're going to just ask it one of these kind of, general questions. What is design thinking? Let's say you were trying to create a class on design thinking. So you ask the web and the AI is going to go look, it's going to give you an answer, right? Gives you design thinking answer. And let's say that you wanted to learn more about that. So tell me the key ideas, right? So it gives you some prompt suggestions here, gives that to you and say, okay, now you've got some good ideas about what design thinking is. Let's say, let's develop a lesson plan to introduce students to design thinking in high school. Let's say your audience is a high school class, or you're trying to develop a class. So it's going to give you a lesson plan. And you've seen this with the AI tools. You prompt it, and it's going to give you what you want. The better your input, the better your output. And so here, since we're kind of doing some research on design thinking, it's going to give you all of this information here. So you can really kind of use this as a starter to build up a lesson. Even gives you some timestamps on what you're going to do. Now, how do I know this information is correct? Because one of the things with AI is, one of the criticisms is that it can hallucinate and just give you fake information or false information. And the thing with AI is it's designed to give you an answer, whether you want it or not. So it really wants to give you an answer, and it's going to do that. So the better your input, the better your output. But how do you know this information is correct? Well, on the right-hand side here, you see some information here that is basically the citation. So if we go back up here, and we kind of look at the information that's been output for us, it'll cite it. So for example, give me a definition of design thinking, right? So it'll think and it'll give it to you. There you go. So one of the things, like I was mentioning earlier, is that on this right-hand side, it's going to show you the sources, the found materials where it's pulling this information from. So you can see this information, you can add it to your own personal library. Like I said, you have a library here that basically pulls in resources that you can then consult. So you can see you have a giant, depending on how much information you're grabbing here, you can just start stacking in your library. But let's go ahead and add this to the library. Let's see. Say I like this one. It's here you go. One from an EDU. So you click on it, it's actually going to take you out to the website. So Harvard Business Online, pretty credible. So you want to add that to your library, you click add to library, and now it's going to be inside your library, and there it is, right? Now, the other feature that IKI.AI has that is pretty interesting is collection series over here. So these, like, kind of think of them as your own personal folders around topics and things you really want to research. So design thinking is something that you could do. You hit the little plus button, and it brings you to a screen where you just enter in, what your folder is going to be. And then once you get information that you like, you just grab that, add it to your collection, and then it's gonna add it in there and see how it kind of darkens. that means it's been added to your folder, your collection folder. So this, and now you can go inside that collection and you can see your different resources here. And what's really cool is you can really, on the right-hand side, you can ask it more questions like, let's just use the kind of suggestions here, extract key ideas. So instead of looking at just one website, it's going to look at an aggregate of all the different websites or resources. You can upload PDFs and things, and it's going to give you information. So it tells you a breakdown of it, right? But also what's interesting about this is that it gives you the sources here. See the 1 and the 2? Those are the sources that you have inside your library. If you pull from the web, it'll also cite these sources. And there's a lot of flexibility here. You can actually add notes to things if you wanted to, type those in, but there's a lot of different things you can do here. So in terms of what would be the best function for this? Well, if you're a teacher who's researching some kind of subject that you want to get more content on or get more content knowledge on for yourself so you can deliver to your students, or you just wanted more resources, this is a great starting point. You can now create folders or collections over here and start looking up information, bring it into the collection, and then you can start taking that information that you have collected and then start building out resources from there. Maybe it could be videos or different things like that, or it could be, different writing topics. Let's say over here, let's say create a writing prompt to help demonstrate student understanding. All right. And let's see what the AI gives us. And there you go. Now you got a writing prompt. Boom. That's going to be on design thinking, right? So what's great about this is if you have the skills to lead your students through content, complex subjects, and you can get that information and give them activities and resources to help them with that, you're going to totally help your class. You're going to help your not just your practice as a teacher, but your students out. Give me a rubric to help score this essay prompt. All right. Let's see what it does. Now we're doing this all live, so maybe maybe it doesn't do anything you want, but point is there you go. Now you got a rubric. So not only can you take the information and put it in a collection, but then you can create a prompt and you can create a rubric. You can then put that into your learning management system and really help drive student performance. There you go. So that's IKI.AI. So kind of a case use for the educational sector, and that would be for teachers who are doing research. We need more content or more resources around a complex subject. You can collect it there, put notes, bookmark it, all kinds of features. And you can also, as we said, there's a community aspect here. So you can always follow other people who are, using the system and what they're coming up with. Here you go. Brain biohacking, right? There's all kinds of different topics here that you can kind of look at. Here's a good one, LLMs for beginners. So those of you who want to learn more about AI and large language mapping, here's a user who's got some resources there that you can go into. And if you look into that, there you go. It says he's got a video in there. So there's not a whole lot of information in this particular one, but the point is that other people are doing research and you can join that. There's also peers. So it looks like you got to subscribe to people to get that. So I haven't done so. But anyway, that's the key.ai. So another AI tool that can help teachers get better at what they do. So stay tuned for more. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.